Trizooka is currently the most hated special in Splatoon 3. So today I want to assess the problems of the special, what I hope to accomplish, and the exact changes I would do if I was able to fix the special myself. If you guys want to see more interesting rework ideas like this, be sure to subscribe, and I'd love to talk about some other specials. Well, let's get started. First off, I want to talk about the 7 issues I have with Trizooka. Number 1, due to the odd 3 spiraling shots, the actual one-shot hitbox can feel very inconsistent. This is because sometimes the spiraling of the bullets paired with how far apart they are means that sometimes they can actually swirl around a player and miss them. This felt especially inconsistent before the outside hitbox could combo for a kill, but it still felt today when you're going for some one-shots and the bullets just pass through people. Number 2, the same spiraling effect can make cover feel ineffective.
I bet.
I think it's really important against a special with so much range and such insane damage that little bits of cover can feel very effective at protecting you. And the first way this is faulted is that because the shots can spiral around, sometimes cover can only block 1 or 2 of the bullets, but the third shot can spiral over the cover and then hit you. Sometimes the curvature of the shot can even make it hit behind a corner with the one shot. I think this makes the special feel more random and inconsistent, while also giving it kills that it doesn't feel like it earned. Number 3 is the famous Twitter example. You've all seen the clip on this ramp, which is the startup time. In my opinion, I think it's very important for specials to give time for people to react to what's going on and be able to counterplay against it. And nothing feels worse than dying across the map to a special that was popped so fast you basically had no time to deal with it. It makes it feel like you have no immediate counterplay. Number 4, reducing the impact of the outside 2-shot hitbox. It's been a big problem, since the explosion radius of this by far dwarfs any other hitbox in the game, that 2 shots, even from other specials like Inkjet. And this again contributes to the feeling that cover in Splatoon 3 doesn't really cover the special enough. Even larger objects like one of the towers on Hagglefish zones doesn't even block the special fully, and you can still die behind it. Number 5, as someone who plays blasters, I think an important attribute of a shot that can hit enemies with explosions is its paint. The ability to get painted over as you get hit by an explosion makes it a lot harder to avoid the follow-up. With blasters, this is either balanced by having them be incredibly short range or have incredibly long a fire rate. However, Trizooka has so much range and it's so quick a fire rate that I think this becomes an actual problem where you can get hit by one Trizooka shot and have no way of avoiding the next one. Number 6, I think the low duration of the special has been a problem more recently because I think it encourages you to spam the shots and take them more blindly rather than going for skillful one-shots because you don't have enough time to go for it. And finally, number 7, while the special does come with a small movement penalty, I don't think it has enough meaningful weaknesses to make it a poor close range option. A Panic Trizooka up close is honestly better than some stuff like Stamp or Reef Slider, which are meant to work up close. And I think that's a big problem. The special should punish you for using it in an up close situation, or at least be very hard to play off of. So with my rework, I have 3 goals. First off, I want to give Trizooka more of an emphasis and more of a reward for one-shot kills, allowing them to feel more consistent and just more satisfying to land. Number 2, I want to reduce the area of effect hitbox. Mainly, I want there to be less emphasis on using it, and I need it to be a lot weaker. This is our main nerf of this rework. And finally, I want to introduce a bit more meaningful counterplay while keeping the special feeling difficult to counter. Basically, I'm trying to make it so players have more options against it while it still feels like you're at a disadvantage. That way picks against the Trizooka user can feel very satisfying. So with that all being said, it's time to get to the list of changes. I have 4 nerfs, 2 reworks, and 3 buffs to give the special. Let's start with the nerfs. Probably the most easily agreeable thing out of this entire list is the startup nerf. This actually already happened in Splatoon 1, so we're literally just going to copy that same amount of startup from Splatoon 1 and bring it into Splatoon 3 Trizooka. This makes it a much weaker panic option, especially up close. However, it also eats into the duration problem, since you're going to have even less time to fire your shots, but we'll get to that later. Secondly is the outside explosion hitbox. Since we're also going to be buffing the one shot in other ways that are going to be very impactful, this nerf is going to be really safe to make sure the outside explosion hitbox feels fair. So it's going to be reduced by a whopping 25%. This might seem like a lot, but this actually just puts it in line with the shot from Inkjet, which I think is a pretty fair hitbox size. Next up is 2 new weaknesses for the special. First off, the special will now lag last its full duration regardless of if it has any shots. A new weakness that we'll be talking about a little bit more later, since obviously we'll have to give the special some stuff back for it. But this means no more spamming the shots to get your main weapon back. You're committing to being a Trizooka for as long as it's active. Finally is a brand new glow effect you'll have when swimming, which will be the same as a charge hold, and like a charge hold, you'll have to go through that animation, meaning that there will be a small delay whenever you go back out of ink or into ink, as well as making the location of the Trizooka user more visible and easy to spot. So that's the nerfs. The special is probably around the middle of the pack balance-wise, so let's get into some of the reworks before we go further in. One change I would like to do is give the special a laser just like chargers do. This serves two functions. One, it allows other players to be able to react to where the Trizooka is and see where they're aiming in the same way chargers do. But also, because this laser would have to mimic where the Trizooka would shoot, it would also show an arc for the user of where exactly it's going to land, making it much easier to try to arc Trizooka shots over pieces of cover. The idea for a laser and charge hold was from Ash, by the way. My second rework is the 3 hitboxes will now travel much closer together and be much smaller, so it'll look like a small set of 3 bullets together. These will still have separate hitboxes, but since they travel so close together now, it will no longer have any blind spot where it can go through an opponent, though it will be a little bit smaller radius size compared to how large your one-shot hitbox could be previously. This both makes one-shots more reliable, but also reduces their ability to curve around cover. Okay, that's a lot of nerfs and reworks. Let's get into the actual buffs for this special, because there's some pretty major ones that I think are going to make the special seem a lot more fun despite how much I've nerfed it. First off, we're going to bring back Splatoon 1's ability to use sub-weapons during Trizooka. This will give players who have used Trizooka and wasted all their shots something to do while they're waiting for the special to end, as well as give players a bit more unique options depending on what you have. Splatter Shot can poke with suction bombs to try to move people behind cover, for instance. Squeezer can protect itself with its splash wall, or Carbon Roller can move around with its burst bombs, or go for combos with them. It expands a lot of the options you can do with the special. Number 2 though is probably the most important buff of this list. If you hit the one shot, it will now have a unique sound effect to inform the player, and it will give you an extra shot. Think of it like this: if you hit an opponent, you get the direct sound, you hear the Trizooka effectively reload, and you got one more bullet to shoot at an enemy. This is an insanely powerful reward that only is active for hitting directs, which I think gives the special an insane amount of playmaking potential. Finally is the duration. Since you have the potential to get more shots active as well as a longer startup, I think it's more than fair to increase this to give players more time to hit their shots. I don't want to increase it by too much though, since that could make the special annoying to last as long as it does, as well as I don't want people to be left in a vulnerable state too long if they use the shots quickly. So we'll be buffing the duration from 6 seconds to 7.5 seconds. That'll be about 1 second extra, given that we have to lose a bit of time to the increased startup we gave it earlier. And there you have it. That's how I would rework Trizooka, and I believe this addresses all the problems and goals I listed before. Is it perfect? Probably not, but this is the best that I could come up with. Let me know what you think of this in the comments below, and if you want to see other special reworks in the future, and I'll see you all next time.